Helping people build up their own skills. This is another strategy we believe will contribute to human flourishing for all. But how can we help them help themselves? This video is key to Chapter 4. Discussing this strategy are myself, Lieutenant Colonel Derek Hurd, retired Professor Patty Jung, and Pastor Shannon Jung.
This is a very rewarding way of reaching out to Alice and to those in need. In addition to offering relief or charity, it's important to encourage people to achieve a stable life for themselves. This second strategy often involves face-to-face relationships.
It is about empowering people. Think of tutoring programs for at-risk kids, or for the way Habitat for Humanity encourages eventual residents to put sweat equity into building their homes alongside those who are volunteers. This sort of development, self-development, aims at long-term capacity building.
It sounds to me like what I would call self-determination. This strategy is designed to help Alice and Alec develop the ability to make good decisions for themselves, decisions that will help sustain their families. In the Yellow Ribbon program, we encourage the development of employment skills and also teach veterans how to live within the law.
It's vital that people learn how to make effective choices and to persevere in the hope of achieving a decent standard of living. Housing, jobs, and education are primary ingredients for building a self-supporting life. Without these sources of stability, it is difficult to imagine how those barely making it now will be able to keep their heads above water down the road. Anything one can do to assist in the development of these fundamental assets is all to the good.
Shannon, please say some more about the face-to-face dimensions of this strategy.
When this mode of empowerment involves face-to-face relations, there grows in the giver the spiritual benefit of learning to appreciate people with diverse life experience. Both may sense also an achievement, a sort of learning together, working together. Both may sense a spiritual renewal of their ability to make a difference. So theologian Monica Helwig suggests that one of our greatest human desires is the ability to contribute, to make a difference.
I think I know what you're talking about. What I discover is that it becomes difficult to categorize who is the giver and who is the receiver, because both may feel the gratitude of giving and receiving. It speaks of the God-given dignity and value of everyone.
In your conversation today, let me suggest that you try to identify some of the forms of empowerment that you have engaged in. What has proved spiritually rewarding for you? How do we assist people to help themselves while letting them maintain control over their own future? I hope that those are some of the things you discuss. Thank you.
Great. Well, I just want to tell you a story about one of the veterans that we discovered. His name is, let's call him Jim. We discovered Jim sitting in his hooch, as we call it, and it was a hooch that he had fashioned from 6 shopping carts. If you can visualize 6 shopping carts parked, one in front of the other with 3 on each side. And what he had done was park those shopping carts and then run a support across the top and put a tarp over the top, and even had the nerve to camouflage it so it couldn't be seen from the street. And so this is an image of me going through his paperwork just to verify that he's a veteran. But if you look at the image, you'll see that he's a very social guy. He has a table and chairs, and that's just where he's living. So what we were able to do is put him immediately in emergency housing at the Days Inn, and we took him in there and left him in there for about 15 days until we were able to get him into an apartment. He's actually now living in a duplex. But a funny part of the story was when we were actually putting him into the hotel, one of the things that I wanted to do, I wanted him to be able to be that one that crossed that threshold of homelessness to being stably housed. So I gave him the hotel card so that he could swipe in, and I wanted him to be the first person in the room. And he goes in to the room, and we're standing there with all of his stuff, me and a caravan of about 5 other guys, and he walks into the room, immediately proceeds to the remote, turns the TV on, and sits there and starts watching the TV. And I left out a piece earlier. I didn't tell you that he's a Vietnam vet, a cancer survivor with a tracheotomy. So he can't talk. Everything that he wanted to portray to me, he wrote it down. So there he is, sitting in the room. It's 98 degrees outside. We're standing there with all of his stuff, and he's looking at TV. And I looked at him like, "What are you doing?" And he takes a piece of paper, and he writes on it, "This is the first time I've seen TV in 2 years. I was done."
Great.